Start recording. Hello ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to another video here on the channel. It's Football Fan 148 here, and as you can see, of course, by the title I've just put down here, of course I am here with the second round draw predictions of this year's Carabao Cup. Now, of course, for round one we've had some very interesting results already and some absolute shockers as well. Yeah, it's been quite a intriguing Carabao Cup already, and we haven't even got past the first round yet. So, of course, yeah, currently right now we have got some games underway. Yeah, we'll just see how enough those teams get on later. We'll probably find that out later on. But anyway, yeah, we're not here to talk about that. Of course, we're here to talk about the Carabao Cup, and of course, as you can see, guys, yeah, also here to do the draw predictions as well. So, yeah, let's indeed get on with it. So, yep, of course, again, I have, of course, got my trusty friend, the Wheel of Names, ready. That should work. See what it's doing. Oh, there we go. Oh, there we go. Yep. So, as you can see there, guys, looks like so let me just remind you of the teams we've got on here. And again, guys, also, I really don't know why they did this southern section for round two, which they never normally which they never normally do. So, yeah. Of course, guys, also just to let you know that coming in this round, of course, we've got the Premier League teams in this draw as well. So let me just remind you of the Premier League teams we've got in here. We have got Burnley, Everton, Nottingham Forest, Sheffield United, and Wolverhampton Wanderers in this draw from the Premier League side. Of course, this is the northern section, so we're going to do the northern section first, and then we're going to move on to the southern section. So, yeah, I've also got my notepad thing ready to go. So, yeah, let's indeed get into it. Well, sorry about that, guys. I'm always having problems with certain bits of Wi-Fi here these days. It does get a little picky at times, but hopefully that'll just be like the one and only one we'll have tonight. So yeah, as I was saying, guys, yeah, of course, pretty much got the wheel ready. Let's, of course, get on with it. And the first team out will be, looks like it will be Premier League opposition. First team out is, of course, Nottingham Forest. Of course, who got the league last season, of course, spent the Premier League, spent their first season back in the Premier League in quite a long time last season. They had a bit of a tricky spell at the start, but yeah, kept themselves in the division. And they'll be taking on League One side Lincoln City. Very easy tie for Nottingham Forest taking on Lincoln City. Very easy tie there for Nottingham Forest of the Premier League. And next up we have League Two Bradford, who of course progressed to the second round on penalties. Penalties, of course, getting the win against Accrington Stanley. Also League Two, of course, progressing from that League Two affair, flying colours. And they will be taking on John Dyson Everton. Well, another easy tie for a Premier League side. Of course, Everton, of course, managed by the former Burnley manager Sean Dyche. Yeah, a really easy tie away from home for Everton. Next out of the hat is, of course, Stoke City. They had a bit of a tricky tie last night against West Bromwich Albion, but of course progressed, beating West Brom by 2-1 last night. And Stoke will be facing, as they say on Sky Sports News, in Stoke. Yeah, they'll be taking on a side who knocked out Preston North End on penalties last night. Salford City, of course, progressing, as I said before, knocking out Preston North End on penalties there. But can they do the same thing to Stoke, or can they actually get it done in 90 minutes? We'll find out. But now, right, who's up next? It looks like it will be Premier League side Sheffield United. Sheffield United, of course, of the Premier League, getting promoted last season. Quite a good season for them. Sheffield United back in the Premier League after a 2-season absence. And Sheffield United will be facing League Two side Tranmere Rovers. Of course, Tranmere Rovers, of course, they progressed on penalties last night as well. But pretty much the Premier League side's really getting some easy ties so far. Sheffield United, of course, being another one. Next side up, it is another Premier League side in Wolverhampton Wanderers. Of course, Wolves. Losing their manager, Julian Lopetegui, lost him last night. Well, I didn't exactly say lose him, more like he walked last night. Yeah, contract was terminated last night. And, of course, Gary O'Neill has, of course, replaced him as Wolves manager. Interesting to see how things go on there. And Wolves will be playing. It's Burnley. An all-Premier League affair there. Yeah, an all-Premier League affair there. Of course, Burnley got promoted last season. Of course, as champions, of course, with Vincent Kompany at the helm, of course, recently signed Serge Berger, of course, from Sheffield United just recently, earlier today. Okay, next side up is Blackburn Rovers. Blackburn Rovers, of course, progressing after that thriller last night against Walsall. Of course, Blackburn progressing to beating Walsall 4-3. Blackburn will be facing Leeds or Shrewsbury. That is a game currently taking place right now. Moment. So yeah, I'll be interested to see who, of course, Blackburn will be playing in there, either Leeds or Shrewsbury, depends on who, of course, wins that game at Ellen Road, right? Currently at the moment. Okay, next side out is League Two opposition in Crewe Alexandra. Yeah, Crewe Alexandra, of course of League Two, of course, progressed last night. And Crewe Alexandra of League Two will be facing a League One opposition in Bolton Wanderers. Of course, Bolton, of course, did very well last season, of course, getting the win. Of course, getting a win in their season opener, of course, in the EFL this weekend, I think. I might be wrong, but yeah. Yeah, of course, Bolton. Of course, yeah, done very, very well, of course, winning that game. And actually, I'm just having a look at one thing briefly, guys. Just having a look at one thing briefly regards on just a couple of the matches. Yeah, of course, Bolton. Yes. So currently, as things stand, just having a look at some of the games right now in the Carabao Cup, just briefly to see how things are going for like sides who, of course, in the Carabao Cup. Now, last time I knew anything, it'll be at a half-time point right now. So, yeah, of course, the latest scores in those games right now. Shrewsbury Town looks like they could be on their way to a big shock over championship opposition, currently 1-0 up against Leeds. Leicester 2-0 up now against Burton Albion. Yeah, good night for Leicester. Coventry 1-0 up against SC Wimbledon. Bristol City 2-1 up against Oxford. Cardiff Colchester currently 2-2, and Ipswich Bristol Rovers currently 1-0 Ipswich. So yeah, just thought I'd have a look to see what the scores were in those games that were being played right now, guys. So I thought I'd just have a brief look just to see how they were getting on in those games. And yeah, definitely interesting. So yeah, as I was saying, of course, Bolton winning the game of the weekend with 3-0, and of course beat Barrow of League Two, of course, by a 0-0 last night. And the first team out and the next team out will, of course, be either Burton Albion or Leicester, but pretty much as things stand, it will be Leicester City going through at the moment. So it looks like either side's getting a home tie in the second round. And who will be facing Leicester or Burton? It will be League One opposition in Port Vale. Of course, got a win last night. Last night did Port Vale, but didn't exactly have a good result at the weekend, losing 7-0 to Barnsley. The next home side out, of course, be League 2. Wrexham didn't exactly have the best of starts. Starts in League 2. But of course, won on penalties last night against Wigan, winning 4-2 on penalties there. Did Wrexham last night. And Wrexham of League 2 will have Championship opposition in Rotherham United. Rotherham United, of course, another side that progressed on penalties last night. So, of course, Rotherham, the Championship, doing really, really well indeed. So, 6 sides left in here, guys. Got 6 sides left. And one of them, of course, be League 2 Harrogate. Of course, getting a 1-0 win last night. So, who will Harrogate of League 2 be facing? And it will be Championship opposition in Sheffield Wednesday. But Sheffield Wednesday got a pretty comfortable trip to Yorkshire to take on Harrogate. Of course, Sheffield Wednesday, of course, a pretty narrow win, pretty narrow moment for them last night. I mean, they were 1-0 down until the 8th minute. I think it was either the 7th or 8th minute of stoppage time in that game against Stockport, and where they nicked an equaliser and then won the match on penalties. Yeah. Of course, the next team out will, of course, be Blackpool. Blackpool getting a win themselves last night. Blackpool. Of course, Blackpool did also get a win right at the start of in their opening game. So, Blackpool, of course, will either be playing someone from either 2 teams from League 2 or one side from the Championship. And who will they be facing? It will be someone from League 1 in Mansfield. No, in League 2 in Mansfield Town on Blackpool. And of course, we have got our final 2 teams in here, and it will be Middlesbrough, and they will be taking on of League 2. So there we go, guys. Right, so that is, of course, the northern section done. So now, guys, of course, we need to reset the wheel for the teams. Of course, teams from the southern section. Yeah, so teams, of course, from the southern section. Of course, guys, we will also have another game happening at some point next week between QPR and Norwich. That game didn't get played this week. We don't know why, but just really happened like that. Right, so here we go, guys. Right, so we got the wheel up with brand new teams now, which I'll bring up now. Let me just bring up the wheel again. Yeah, let me bring up the wheel again. Hopefully everything will be good. Yep, as you can see, we got all the sides on there. Of course, clubs on here. So let me remind you just who the Premier League teams are on here. We've got Bournemouth, Brentford, Chelsea, Crystal Palace, Fulham, Luton, Luton, Tottenham. Tottenham. Oh, not exactly sure. Is there any more on there? The Premier League ones? Again, no, that is the Premier League sides on here. Of course, there'll be more coming in at round 3. But yeah, that is officially all the Premier League sides from in the Southern section. So let's get this Southern section draw off and running. So who are we going to get coming out first? And it looks like it will be Bristol City or Oxford. Currently at the minute, Bristol City currently 2-1 up against Oxford right now. Yeah, so Bristol City or Oxford United, of course, got the home tie, and they will be taking on Crystal Palace of the Premier League. Of course, Crystal Palace, of course, got in action this weekend against Sheffield United. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how on earth that one goes. Oh, not again. That's the second time that's happened tonight, but at least it's not as many times as we thought it was going to be, guys. So yeah, all right, next one up, and that is Ipswich or Bristol Rovers. Next side out, Ipswich Town, of course, currently beating Bristol Rovers currently by 1-0. So that's another one of those sides that are playing right now out of the hat, and they will be playing. Will it be Premier League opposition again like last time? No, it isn't. But it is Championship opposition in Plymouth Argyle, because Plymouth getting a 2-0 win last night to progress. So Ipswich or Bristol Rovers, they have got Championship opposition in Plymouth Argyle. So for Ipswich, it could potentially be an all-championship affair. Or for Bristol Rovers, it could potentially be League One versus Championship, if that happened. All right, next side out is Sutton United. Of course, they last night was won on penalties against League One Cambridge. Of course, knocking them out on penalties. Of course, that game finished 2-2. And next side out, we have got is of course the Royals Reading, and I don't think Reading will mind that. Another trip to the capital, a little bit of revenge, considering Sutton, of course, beat the Royals in pre-season. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Reading do there. But of course, Reading, but they will come into this. Well, a lot of hope in them, of course. They thrashed Millwall with the Championship by 4-0 in that match last night. Yeah, okay. So next team out is, of course, QPR or Norwich. Of course, that game will, of course, be taking place on the 16th of August, which will be at some point next week. It will be this time next week. This game will be taking place. And QPR or Norwich, they will be taking on. Oh, they could potentially be taking on Tottenham Hotspurs of the Premier League. Of course, Tottenham, of course, manoeuvred in the transfer market. Of course, it'd be a big test for either QPR or Norwich. For QPR, could potentially be a London derby. Be a London derby there if they, of course, progress from that match. Okay, next side out is Premier League opposition in second season back in the Premier League. So yeah, of course, very, very interesting season for Brentford. Brentford will be taking on. They'll be taking on League One Portsmouth. Portsmouth, of course, always a tough side to beat. I think Brentford will have a tough tie there against League One Portsmouth. Okay, next side out is another Premier League side. One of Brentford's Premier League rivals, of course. Fulham did very, very well last season in the Premier League. Did Fulham. So, yeah, really, really good win. I mean, a really, really good season for Fulham. Hopefully they'll do as well this year as they did last year. And Fulham will be taking on either AFC Wimbledon or Coventry. What's that game currently taking place right now? Last time I saw anything, AFC Wimbledon. I think that game was 1-0 Coventry at some point. I might need to have a double look. No, actually, they are on a lead indeed. But anyway, next side out, and that will be. It will be a championship side in Swansea City. So we've got Swansea City out here. Swansea City, comfortable win for them last night, 3-0. 3-0 win there last night. Very, very comfortable for Swansea City. And Swansea City will have a bit of a Welsh derby. It's Swansea City versus Newport County. So it'll be an interesting match there. Swansea versus Newport. Next side out is, of course, another side close to Berkshire. Of course, that will be Wycombe Wanderers. Of course, Wycombe Wanderers beating MK Dons last night by 2-0 to progress into the second round of the Carabao Cup. And Wycombe will be welcoming fellow League One side Peterborough. Peterborough to Adams Park. Yeah, Wycombe Wanderers versus Peterborough. Peterborough. Yeah. Yeah, so Wycombe versus Peterborough. There, all League One tie there. And the next side out will be Premier League Bournemouth. And a bit of a tough time last season, but pretty much around the end of last season, of course, managed to really really managed to give themselves a new bit of directive and keep themselves in the Premier League. And AFC Bournemouth will be playing Chelsea. Of course, I think Chelsea will be pleased about that. Of course, Chelsea doing very, very well. Of course, they won the pre-season tournament, the Premier League Summer Series. Of course, Chelsea will be very, very pleased with the trip on the coast against Bournemouth. The next team out is, of course, League One opposition. Knocking Watford out on penalties. Of course, Stevenage winning the penalty shootout by 4 penalties to 2. And Stevenage will be taking on either Cardiff or Colchester. Yeah, so Stevenage versus Cardiff or Colchester. Yeah, indeed. Very, very interesting. Interesting match there. So, of course, we've got 4 teams left. 1 from the Premier League, 1 from the Championship, and 1 for League One and 1 for League Two. And, of course, we have got a Premier League side out. And, of course, it is Luton, of course, back in the Premier League for the first time in, I think it might have been 70 years, or 70-something years anyways. So, yeah, Luton Town, of course, back in the Premier League, and they have a home tie against League Two Gillingham. Yeah, a good tie there for Luton. That means, of course, we have pretty much all but 2 teams left in, of course, Championship, Birmingham and Exeter. So, and of course, the home side for this one will indeed be the Championship side, Birmingham City, Exeter City. I'll just pretty much do it anyway, guys, really, so just know it's anyhow. So there we go. So there we go, guys. That is, of course, pretty much the draw predictions done for the second round of the 2023/24 Carabao Cup. Yeah, so let me just remind you of the fixtures we'll start off with the northern section. We've got Nottingham Forest versus Lincoln City, Bradford City versus Everton, Stoke City versus Salford City, Sheffield United versus Tranmere Rovers, Wolves versus Burnley, Blackburn versus Leeds or Shrewsbury, Crewe Alexandra versus Bolton Wanderers, Burton Albion or Leicester City versus Port Vale, Wrexham versus Rotherham United, Harrogate versus Sheffield Wednesday, Blackpool versus Mansfield Town, and Middlesbrough versus Doncaster. Into the southern section we go, and we find that Bristol City or Oxford United will be taking on Crystal Palace. Ipswich Town or Bristol Rovers will be playing Championship side Plymouth Argyle. Sutton United of League Two, they'll be taking on League One Reading. QPR or Norwich, they'll take on Premier League side Tottenham. Brentford versus Portsmouth. Fulham versus AFC Wimbledon or Coventry. Swansea City versus Newport County. Wycombe Wanderers versus Peterborough. Bournemouth versus Chelsea, Stevenage versus Cardiff or Colchester, Luton Town versus Gillingham, and indeed Birmingham City versus Exeter City. Yes, so that is, of course, pretty much, guys, the draw predictions for the second round of the Carabao Cup. Yeah, of course, it's a very, very interesting draw. We've got some interesting ties there, of course, for teams from the Premier League, Championship, League One, and League Two. Yeah, some interesting ties. We're just going to point out a few. From the northern section, we've got some interesting ones there, like Sheffield, Wolves versus Burnley, Blackburn versus either Leeds or Shrewsbury, Wrexham versus Rotherham, Harrogate versus Sheffield Wednesday, and Middlesbrough versus Doncaster. Whilst in the southern section, we got, of course, Sutton United versus Reading, QPR Norwich versus Tottenham, Swansea City versus Newport County, Luton Town versus Gillingham, Birmingham City versus Exeter City. Some very interesting ties, of course, picked out by my Wheel of Names generator. Yeah, so definitely some interesting ties there. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, yeah, I'm gonna end things here. Thank you all very much for watching. Of course, if you did enjoy this video, of course, let me know. Of course, down in the comments if you did enjoy it. Of course, guys, also please do put in the comments who you would like to see your team face in the second round of the Carabao Cup. Of course, guys, the second round draw proper, that will start in pretty much near an hour's time. So, yeah, it will start at 10:15 straight after the Leicester City versus Burton Albion match has finished. Yeah, so that will be starting around 10:15. But also, guys, again, please let me know if you enjoyed this video down in the comments. And also, please do comment who you would like to see your side face in the second round of the Carabao Cup. And also, guys, please do drop a like and also subscribe to the channel, and make sure you do have your notification bell turned on for any future, any future streams or videos. Yeah, but anyway, guys, yeah, that's it from me. I'll see you guys later. This is Football Fan 148 signing off. Hope you have a good evening, guys. See you later. Peace.